what I'm seeing is that overall, and I want to praise the companies, the Azure, AWS, and all of them. They're doing what they can to help provide security controls and secure platforms so that those moving through the infrastructure are doing what they can to secure the environment. So every day that they're working through those. But there's two concerns that I see frequently is that people get complacent and say, oh, well, the infrastructure, service or wherever we're going is going to do all those controls. That's not the case. You really need to understand the architecture of what you're building and how you're going to maintain it, because if they release new security controls or change something, that can change in your environment, right? So if you're not aware, that those changes are happening. And so when we talk DevSecOps, for example, there is, and even just DevOps, there's a understanding that those teams have, and I would say it's only usually a partial understanding of the entire environment and the risk that may be. They're not really assessing an expanded view of the risk. If they are more on the development side, and then they're doing the operations because they need to, they don't really understand all the operational risk. If they're mainly operations people and they're working a bit on the dev side to help with the pipeline, they don't understand the full dev because they don't know the full tech stack within. So there's tools out there that are better at. I think no matter what, you've got to have continuous scanning, pen testing kind of models to be able to look for those risks. And this again is where I think AI is going to help. In fact, a company just released and announced, a large one just released and announced a new security center product and things like that that are going to be looking for those holes within the infrastructure itself. From a DevSecOps, one thing that also gets unfortunately missed is people change, and really don't even have a good it's shared model. So let's talk about the shared responsibility model. And that's maybe discussed when they're starting a project, like who's going to be doing this or that. Well, but things change over time, and do you have that in set for contractual? And that's where things leave, because you've got business people and tech people, you've got multiple parties that are involved, and they're not really maintaining and aware and evaluating that threat model. Threat modeling should not be a once and done exercise. It should be, especially in the case of DevSecOps, that threat model should also be looking at what are the potential, internal controls that we need to do to keep it. Not just, we're protecting the SaaS environment, but what are the internal controls that somebody can laterally move into that movement, into that infrastructure and pull things down, because it is somehow usually connected into a corporate network at some point, or how the infrastructure is. And so DevSecOps definitely has a long way to grow, and a lot of people will show the infinity sign because it's just continually, you've got to keep working through that whole process.
Right. So no, you made some good points. The people that provide the cloud infrastructure are providing some security tools, but there are a lot of things you can layer on top of that to ensure you're safe. So